Well, they did it. They did it. The Indianapolis Colts broke Andrew Luck to the point where he would retire. And honestly, I'm not even surprised. I mean, I was very shocked when I heard this news, but I'm not even surprised that Andrew Luck retired. And let's talk about very quickly why. Andrew Luck retired because he flat out does not have a joy for the game of football anymore because of the amount of injuries that he's taken. And he has taken arguably more punishment than any quarterback has in recent history. He has had one of the worst offensive lines we've ever seen in the NFL. Don't believe me, go look at the stats. This is the one year that they're going to be good. That offensive line will be good this year. It'll be a top 5 offensive line, but the past 5 years for Andrew Luck have been nothing but being attacked relentlessly by the defensive linemen on the opposite side of the ball. He has had to deal with punishment like no quarterback has. He is quite possibly the biggest what-if story in NFL history because he was the successor to Peyton Manning, and we knew that he was going to be good, that he was going to be special, and we will never get the chance to see that. Never. And you want to blame someone? Colts fans, don't blame Andrew Luck because I heard you guys booing him last night, and if you want to blame someone for this, blame the front office. Blame owner Jim Irsay, the man who famously does not believe in concussions. Because when he was asked a couple years ago about Andrew Luck's injuries, he said it's all in his head. And that's a direct quote. Blame Ryan Grigson, who was so up his own ass that he decided he didn't need to draft an offensive line. He just needed to make some splash moves and then maybe it would work. But the splash moves either didn't work out and were traded or just never happened because no one wanted to go to this factory to get pounded. Because that's what the Colts were. The Colts were a literal glue factory when you think about it. Ironic given their name. You went to the Colts to die. If you wanted to die, you went to the Colts because you'd get hurt. How many Colts players have played a full season? You know, that's my question. But Colts fans, if you want to blame someone, blame that front office. Blame Jim Irsay for being a stubborn old man. Blame Ryan Grigson for being just incompetence personified. Because that man, thankfully, is not the GM anymore of that team. But he is one of the worst GMs we've ever seen. And blame Chuck Pagano for being a horrendous coach. Blame him for being a terrible coach. Blame everyone on the Colts management and the Colts front office all you want, but do not dare blame Andrew Luck. Which some people are, which is hilarious. Now, about the fans booing on Saturday during the preseason game, the tweet from Adam Schefter came out that Andrew Luck was retiring. How this got leaked, we don't know. It's very likely that a source within the Colts organization leaked it to Schefter because if you think about it, what's the realistic order that Andrew Luck told people he was going to retire? He probably told his family, then his friends, and they have no incentive to leak it, and then probably told Jim Irsay, the owner, that he was retiring. And I guarantee someone in that third party leaked it, which is whatever. But the fans took this as, hey, Andrew Luck said right now that he's retiring. No, he probably said it a lot earlier in the day. And there have been rumors of him retiring. If you're close to the Colts, you might have an idea that there was a little bit of a possibility of this because he's gone through so much in his short 6-year span in the NFL. But the Colts fans booed him, and I don't think they booed him for the retirement because I think if you're booing him for the retirement itself, you don't really understand what these players go through. And that's a topic for another day because that's a whole thing I could just talk about, how fans have such a victim complex. But we're not the ones putting our bodies in the line, especially in football. We're sitting on the couch eating chips saying, I can make that throw. When in reality, if we got touched by a guy like Aaron Donald, we'd collapse and break. And we want to talk all tough and crap about how, put me in the game, I'm this good. And sadly, I know people like that, myself included. I mean, if I had $1 for every time I said I could make a throw better than Aaron Rodgers, I'd probably be rich enough to retire at this point, even though I would probably throw the ball 15 yards and it'd go for a pick six. I think these fans booed the way this happened. And I don't know if they booed. It's tough because you don't want to assume that they were booing Luck. You want to say that they were booing the front office, but it was while Luck was leaving the field. And I guess part of me wants to hope that the Colts fans are not like that, because there's no way your franchise, as pitiful as it is right now, can be that entitled. But maybe they were booing Luck. I think they were. I think they were legitimately booing Luck for the way this happened. I don't think it was for the retirement itself. I think it was for the way it happened. Now, switching gears here pretty quickly. Sports media. Sports journalists in general. You got hot takes. You got people that are paid for hot takes, like Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless and Colin Cowherd and Max Kellerman to a degree. You got all these people that are paid to be controversial. And then you just have morons, right? And then you just have absolute buffoons that do not deserve any sort of platform. But they do. And the man I'm going to talk about here, I had to look up his name really quick, is Doug Gottlieb, who is he hosts a show of his name on Fox Sports Radio, and he's also a baseball analyst on FS1. And he went out last night, and he decided to tweet saying, and I quote this tweet, "Retiring because rehabbing is too hard is the most millennial thing ever. #Andrew Luck." Safe to say he got absolutely destroyed for this tweet, and thankfully he did, because this is the stupidest thing I've read in a while. Doug Gottlieb is the same guy who didn't want to work in college, so he stole a teammate's credit card, and it was a national scandal. He's the guy that came into a game for North Carolina basketball with his shorts on backwards. This guy is not just a clown, he is the whole entire circus, and he wants to do this popular baby boomer meme of, it's millennials, they don't want to do any hard work. Doug, have you ever played a snap of football in your life? Have you ever played football in your life? To know what these guys go through. And I don't. Not a lot of us do. These guys go through so much on their bodies every single week for a game. To say that it's because rehabbing is too hard, that's not even why he said it. He said he's just tired of all the injuries. Can you blame him? We're seeing more and more players in the NFL in specific retiring early because they don't want to live the rest of their life as a vegetable. With all the research on CTE and post-retirement injuries, some players having just debilitating issues. Good for Andrew Luck for recognizing that he has a future outside of football. And I guarantee we'll see him in the broadcast booth come next season. Because I think there is a part of him that still enjoys the game. He just doesn't want to play it anymore, which is not a problem. I love the game of football, but I don't necessarily want to play at the NFL level. It'd be cool for 5 minutes, and then I'd get knocked on my ass, and then I would say, all right, I'm done. But for people like Gottlieb and other people that are saying that Andrew Luck is weak or is, less of a man for retiring, just stop. Just stop, because the only person you're embarrassing is yourself. This is the smartest decision Andrew Luck could have made. It sucks for the Colts, because it came at a time where they were looking to have a very good season this year, possibly an AFC championship contender, and now they have to start at square one with Jacoby Brissett. So we'll see how they do. And yeah, did it come at a bad time? Probably. But you had to have this feeling, especially knowing that he's been in so much rehab and been with so many injuries, that this was going to happen. It came at a weird time, but do you want him to play the full season and probably get hurt even more again? like, just think about it from a human perspective, not a sports perspective, because not everything's about this. There's more out there, and if you're me, or, if you're Andrew Luck, walk a mile in his shoes. What is Andrew Luck going through? We've seen people that have played football that have killed themselves, that have suffered depression, anxiety disorders, that have been paralyzed, that have been unable to communicate, that have had early onset dementia. Instead of the fans being victims and saying that, well, I bought this Luck jersey, what am I going to do now? Or I was excited for us to win the Super Bowl. Instead of playing victim while we sit on the couch and enjoy our free entertainment on TV at other people's expense, how about we sit back and recognize that not everything is about this game? That the players in the pads and the helmets are humans just like you and me. And they deserve the best chance at life that they can get. And that is exactly what Andrew Luck's going for, and I, for one, applaud him. Thank you so much for watching. Leave your feedback anywhere that you want to, and I really appreciate all the support. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful rest of your day.